music and let's plays, and a couple other things such as skits and vid blogs. Also sometimes I sing. This sums up the Controller Show.
Who lives in a pineapple under the sea? Absorbent and yellow and porous.
Hello everyone, I am the Controller, and welcome back to Spooky Story Friday. Ooh, spooky. More spooky stories for you guys to hear today. As you saw from the title of this video, I'm going to be reading a Spongebob SquarePants creepypasta. Strangely enough, this one actually isn't posted to Creepypasta or Crappypasta. It's actually posted to fanfiction.net under the title Spongebob ScarePants, with the U missing in square, so it makes the word scare very, very funny. Hoi hoi hoi. Creepypasta Hope is Lost. It's from your favorite horror author. Comes a classic revised called Hope is Lost. If you have heard of this, I'm happy to tell you happy haunting. Also, I'd like to just inform you guys that this story was actually published on my birthday in 2012. So yeah, this is by a author by the name of Black Cat with Leet X's around their name. I actually had a friend on Xbox once who had X's around their name. He was quite cool, and then we stopped talking. But anyway, that's besides the point. All right, you might know who you are. I doubt you're watching, but you might know who you are. Anyway, the beginning of the story begins with a little introduction by the author, stating, "Hello, my name is Black. Now today, I 1, 2, SpongeBob's coming for you." Oh shit, SpongeBob's coming for me? Ruh-roh. And then for some reason underneath it says added by Black Cat. Like, of course you added. You're the one who wrote the story. Who else would add it? Alright, let's begin the story. SpongeBob ScarePants creepypasta. Hope is Lost. I'm going to tell you a story of what may seem a typical day to any normal intern, but there was nothing normal about today. It was my first day as an intern at Nickelodeon Studios. They picked me up after receiving my associate's degree from ITT-EC. Running donuts and making coffee sucked, I can tell you that much, but it had its perks. Me being on the road of an editor, I sometimes received the opportunity to see episodes before they were officially released. Today, I was invited into the editing studio, but you see, it was odd. There was no one in there. Normally this would cost me my internship, but oh god, I couldn't resist the urge. It was overwhelming, encompassing. Oh dear god, that feeling. I needed to have more SpongeBob! As soon as I walked in, the door slammed behind me. I figured this was one of those somewhat cruel pranks that editors sometimes pulled on the new guys. So when the door locked, I figured this was some kind of punishment, and my heart slowly sank. Why? Oh, okay, my internship was in huge jeopardy. Okay, you're worried about your job. I gotcha. Oh, they probably already knew I was here. Panicking. Wait, why are you suddenly in the present tense? Like, that's your thought? Like, that was what you were thinking? Why would you add that sentence in there? My internship was in huge jeopardy. Oh, they probably knew I was in here? Okay, that's strange. Panicking, I ran at the door with all my force, slamming into it with all my might. Now, not to boast, but I was not the weakest guy, alright? This guy, Black Cat, he ain't no pussy! Despite his name, he ain't no pussy. He will slam into a door as much as he needs to if he's going to escape the true terrors of being in a boardroom by yourself when you wanted to go in there anyway. I had been working out for the past 3 years, but, dear lord, there was something on the other side of that door. Some force stronger than the strongest man, making sure I couldn't leave until I did what I was sent in to do. You weren't sent in to do anything, though. You willingly came in here and then the door shut behind you. That was your own damn fault. You weren't supposed to be in here anyway, so whatever happens after this, that's your own damn fault. Now, in my panic, I hadn't noticed the netbook, the chair, and the small table it was sitting on. The chair was on the small table? What? In the disc tray, there was a blank CD. Usually, these were editing discs, completely cherry episodes just barely leaving production. Didn't have any markings or even a name, but something beckoned me. Something pushed me to the chair and forced me to sit. As I slowly pulled the chair back, my heart rate slowly increased. You could almost hear it in my chest. Thump, thump, capital lock, thump! I slowly pushed the DVD tray shut. Without any prompt or confirmation, it just started. Something seemed odd straight away. Normally, it would open in VLC or Windows Media Player. However, this was odd. It just opened with no video player. It seemed the computer itself was just a video player, but it couldn't be. It seemed just like any other normal netbook the interns or staff carried. Or was it? Ellipse, question mark. Well, you obviously know. This is written... You wrote this in past tense. Yeah, we know. You literally told us that there was... that there was something weird about that day. Of course it wasn't. There's a creepypasta! As the title card flashed, I could immediately see my first assumption was wrong. It wasn't a cherry or slightly edited build. They never had title cards. This was either finished or just ready to leave production. The title card seemed odd. I never seen anything like it. Instead of the usual fun font they used that popped and seemed colorful. Of course, to appeal more to children. It's not like adults watch Spongebob. It seemed more gothic. Something you would see in a horror film. The words in the title card made my heart sink farther. It had to be a joke, right? Why would someone try to scare me this terribly, though? The words read, "You nosy intern, you shouldn't have come in here." And the happy bubble transition that we were all used to was gone. The text just melted down the screen, almost like blood running down a wall, and it slowly faded into the show from a couple seconds of utter silence. Alright, now we're finally into the spooky part, the show. It transitioned into one of the familiar openings, with SpongeBob slowly snoring in bed and Gary sleeping beside him on his newspaper. The blowhole of an alarm clock was there, even the bed was. I began to feel relieved. I remembered all this from when I was a kid. It seemed normal, but was it? Oh dear God, well, I was wrong. Forgive me, you must forgive me. I am choked up. Ellipse, just writing this. I wanted to forget this, but something compels me to share my story. I was expecting the blowhole to go off, and SpongeBob to start his typical routine, but it didn't. I'm sorry. I just like, I don't know. I feel like it's, I don't know. It's just silly writing. Oh boy. All right. Oh, I'm dying. This story is killing me already. I was expecting the blowhole to go off and SpongeBob to start his typical routine. Oh, how bad that thing annoyed me as a kid. But it didn't come. It must have been at least just 3+ minutes of just SpongeBob snoring. Then, something finally happened. Did it? What happened? It started to slowly pan into his face. Oh, so slowly, waiting in anticipation, just waiting for something to finally happen. I would later greatly regret this decision. Oh, what I would give if I had just ended right then and there! As it finally reached deep into his face, you could clearly see his expression. It was one of horror, malice, one someone in a terrible nightmare would have. His eyes almost seemed as if they had been stitched shut. It then had a transition, not the usual fade to black or the joyful bubbles, but something altogether much more sinister. It was a fiery transition, almost like the previous scene had just burned up. Because it's fire, and that's what fire does. By all appearances, we were now in SpongeBob's mind, in his dream, his nightmare. It appeared to be Bikini Bottom. Oh, but there was something very, very wrong. The whole city seemed in shambles, the horizon blood red, the buildings burning. SpongeBob was just walking down the road. It seemed the typical path he would normally take to the Krusty Krab. The people around him, oh dear God, I still remember it. The blood-curdling screams. At this moment, I realized that there was something very wrong. You knew there was something very wrong already. How many times are you going to realize that there was something very wrong? I feel like multiple more times. Hell, most adults would find this a bit morbid at this point. The scream, oh the scream. It was one of someone in great pain, being tortured or slowly dying. A blood-curdling... It's just a bunch of G's. It's just a bunch of G's with a space, and then a bunch of more G's, and then an H. And then that's, yeah, the quote. I don't think you really had to accentuate what the scream sounded like. I'm pretty sure I can imagine what a blood-curdling scream sounds like. Thank you very much, Mr. Black Cat Arthur. At this point, I couldn't see who it was coming from, just SpongeBob walking, slowly, silently, as the screaming slowly continued, getting louder and louder. Oh god, I almost wanted to claw my eyes out when he turned the corner. I saw the source of the screams. It was terrifying, horrible, inhuman. It was Patrick, hammered into a stake almost like the crucifixion of Jesus Christ. Oh, good. This is where we're going? Yep, I just looked ahead a little bit. Yep, this is where we're going. Good. But also, his stomach, oh god, it had been torn open. His entrails slow leaking out. The look on his face, seeing SpongeBob. He seemed relieved for a moment, almost as if his salvation had come. His eyes began to water, just staring at SpongeBob, almost beckoning. His eyes spoke for him. They screamed, "Please, oh god, please help me." That was my best Patrick voice. We then transitioned over to SpongeBob, and he now just stood there, staring back at Patrick, watching his friend slowly suffer and die. Patrick then began to weep slowly, almost as if he understood something that I, the viewer, did not. Like, SpongeBob went crazy? I mean, you can pretty much understand that now. You don't need to be a fucking genius to understand that SpongeBob is obviously off as a spongy rocker. SpongeBob then began to open his mouth, slowly, in a slow, almost satanic, demonic voice. He whispered, "Suffer, fat one. This whole town brought this upon themselves." Then he turned and slowly walked away. At this moment, I screamed out in horror, almost praying that someone would hear me. Someone would walk in. It would cost me my internship, but anything to end this. Now, you may find yourself thinking, why don't you just stand up and attempt once more to escape? I couldn't. Something deep down inside me told me if I moved, I would regret it. I had to fish watching. I just had to. SpongeBob would come and get me. SpongeBob then continued down the road, slowly approaching the Krusty Krab. In the background, you can now hear more screams. Some were horrible, blood-curdling ones. You could tell they came from one in great agony. But there had been one new sound thrown in. A horrible, twisted laugh. One of great malice. Almost as if someone had been hunting an animal and thoroughly enjoying himself all too much. You could hear him very distinctly, fading away into the background, as if they were chasing someone, something in the other direction. You could hear them. Oh, even faded, it was still heart-stopping. Gah, mwah. You don't need quotes. I can imagine the spooky laughter. The spooky laughter that I imagine is probably gonna be even scarier than what you could ever type for me to read out loud. SpongeBob seemed unfazed, almost as if he was used to it. You now could slowly hear clattering behind him, slowly breaking the mind-numbing silence. It sounded almost as if something was crawling slowly toward him. SpongeBob then slowly turned, as if he expected this, and he slowly turned his face slowly came into view. Oh, as he slowly turned his face slowly came into view. His eyes, they changed. They no longer seemed to be his normal, happy, joyful looking eyes. They were blood red and full of malice, hate, and anger. One would expect this face from a demon. Hell, even the devil himself would find this look fitting. I myself now slowly began to weep with no end to this horrid sight. His eyes now fixed on something. It slowly transitioned over. It was Patrick. Dear God, oh my God, forgive me. I can't forgive you. You're telling me this story. I don't know what you. Do you want me to forgive you for interrupting your spoopy story? I'm not gonna forgive you for that. You interrupted my spoopage time. No human should be forced to see that. His entire lower body was now missing, with his intestines slowly trailing behind him, the trail of blood behind him, because there were intestines, and there's blood in intestines. What was left of his arms had huge holes in them, almost as if something had been torn out of them. The nails. Had he ripped himself off of the stake? His face slowly came up. His eyes beckoned once more to SpongeBob, but this time they said something different. He slowly began to speak, and I'll never forget those words. Kill me. Please. I'm sorry. We're all sorry. Just end it, please. I can't take the pain. This is just morbid. Like, I can't take this seriously because it's so morbid without any like logic or reasoning that I just can't read it seriously. Like, it's no. I'm not gonna read that seriously. This is just demented. There's not even any reason to it. It's just, spooky lost episode. Who the fuck would make this? Haunted SpongeBob tape. Boo. SpongeBob responded with a hellish tone, even worse than before. You asked for forgiveness from me? Do you take me as your god? You will receive no divine forgiveness from me. You see, it's my job to make you suffer. Burn, fat one. And with the flick of her wrist, hellish arms, seemed to just sprout from the ground and grabbed a hold of him and tore him down into what seemed like an endless, hellish abyss. All the way down, you could hear that blood-curdling scream from before. Oh god, no. Oh my god. This is... Ooh. Guys, this is a little bit too spooky for me. I'm not sure how much longer I can go over this. Good thing I don't have to scroll down anymore to see the end of the story. So, we're on the home stretch, guys. Hang in there. Then, SpongeBob slowly turned, as if nothing had happened. He let out a small, evil giggle. By this point, I had almost been wishing for the same thing to happen to me, just so I wouldn't have to see this anymore. At this point, I was crying so hard, I almost felt like a little girl. I felt weak, empty, as if I was about to throw up. As much as I wanted to, I just couldn't choke anything out. Oh lord. SpongeBob then slowly approached, finally, the doors of the Krusty Krab. The path behind him, oh god, the usual cheery path to the entrance had stakes all along it. Into them were hammered in the corpses of our familiar favorite characters. Sandy, Mr. Krabs, Larry the Labster, Pearl, Squidward, Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy, Mrs. Puff, and so on. You didn't have to name, like, the entire cast of SpongeBob characters, like, you could have, like, named 3 and, like, so on. Well, it would have been fine. And on their faces, they all too wore that expression of utter sorrow and horror, as if they had died crying in fear of what stood before them. We then transitioned back to SpongeBob, who now reached for the door. Now something happened out of this horrible, nightmarish thing I was witnessing. The whole building began to shake, almost as if during an earthquake. The only light in the room blew out, and the power went out. I was now in the dark, alone, in the shaking building. I could hear my fellow interns flee, and the developers run out. Wait. Whoa. Developers? What? I thought we were talking about a show. But would you call someone who's working on a show a developer? I mean, I guess that works, but typically you only associate developers with video games. Was this supposed to be a game? Creepypasta first? That's very strange. Alright, moving on. Without even a second thought of where I was, you could hear their car's tires squeal as they raced away. Wow, those are some quick fucking interns, like that quick. They were just gone immediately. Why had they been in such a hurry to escape? Well, it's because the whole building's fucking shaking, that's why. Then turned back to the show, almost as if I was being forced to watch. Really? This is what you're worried about right now? I mean, like, get out. The building is literally shaking. This is not your biggest concern. As a matter of fact, I'm surprised you don't have more inclination to leave now that the building is fucking shaking. He stood alone now, in the Krusty Krab. All lights were out, and there was utter silence, except for a small red glow coming from the door that usually led to the kitchen. That oh-so-familiar kitchen where SpongeBob usually stood making his delicacies. He began to slowly approach it. Slowly, in silence. Slowly, though. As he reached it, he stood in front of the door, almost as if he himself didn't want to go in. Reproachfully, he slowly opened the knob and the door swung open. Oh god, how I wish I could unsee what I saw and heard. SpongeBob faced a hellish demon of indescribable horror, burning in a portal of what seemed to be hell itself. Was this the devil? I was about to say devil. Oh god, the fear that came over me in that moment as its mouth slowly opened. Did you make them suffer, son? It's SpongeBob's dad. It's SpongeBob's dad. It's him saying it to him. Oh god, I can't not imagine that now. What does SpongeBob's dad sound like? I don't remember. He has a mustache. Did you make them suffer, son? It asked in the most hellish tone imaginable. One of extreme rage, anger, malice, hatred, period. SpongeBob replied, slowly saying, almost afraid to reply, Yes, father. They cried, suffered, and burned. A feast of souls waits for you below. It replied simply, Good, son. Now back to your cage, and be gone with you. And at that moment, I finally threw up all over my own lap. Fuck? Okay. Alright. Alright, that's good. Something began to emerge from Spongebob, and his body almost slowly deflated. It almost seemed to be a human. A dog. Something. Oh god, I can't even find the words. It crawled toward the portal, and with a swift kick, its father kicked into what appeared to be hell itself. Then it turned slowly and looked at me, the viewer. Oh, here we go. And slowly it mouthed something. So subtle, so quiet, but chilling to the very core. It seemed as if it was speaking to me. It said, "Oh, don't worry, your world is next. It will suffer at your hands, as this one did at his." Oh wait, was that the dad? That was the dad again. It slowly transitioned over to SpongeBob, or what was left of his corpse. Just skin. Sponges don't have skin. This doesn't make any sense. Well, actually, no, he did get his skin torn off before, so yeah, it's a talking sponge. The logic doesn't apply here. Oh, you're all atoned for what you have done, all of you. You're next. And with that, the computer itself slammed shut and burst into flame. How did the computer slam shut? It's a computer. How do you slam a computer shut? Do you mean the disk tray? The computer? What? The fuck? Okay, as it slowly burned, I could only weep at this. The horror. This couldn't be real. Oh my god, the main character's name is Nick. I thought you said your name was Black. You liar. You're a liar. His name is Nick. Nick. Wake up. My eyes slowly flashed open. I was in the break room on the floor. Above me stood my friend Tina, who said, "Oh, thank God you're okay. You just collapsed. You've been out for about 5 minutes." My whole body was rattled, broken almost. Turning to her, I had this uncontrollable urge. Turning to Tina, I said, "Don't thank God on this day. He won't save us. He has abandoned us. His abominations, his failed creations." What the fuck? What is your problem, man? You got issues. Tina looked aghast, horrified, as someone would. She ran out screaming. I quickly got up and quietly left. Wow, she didn't even like ask what was up. She just alright. Some good friend Tina is. I quickly got up and quietly left. And here I sit, writing my story of the day, calmly. Maybe now I accept my place, and oh, I have work to do. Isn't that right, Tina? Slowly turning to her dismembered body. Oh wow, what a fucking time skip. You're next. I end with this. I am coming. I am his chosen slayer for this world, a messenger of hell itself. And oh, I am coming for you, each and every one of you. And, you'll never stop me. Don't try to run or hide. I'll find you. Okay, written by the Midnight Wings, aka Nicholas James Snyder, inspired by Squidward Suicide Creepypasta, and inspired by Alec Cremeens? The fuck? Who's Alec Cremeens? We gotta look this up. Okay, well while I'm doing that, that honestly had to be the worst creepypasta that I've read on this so far. Oh man, I gotta look up who Alec Cremeens is. So yeah, he's an intern, and he lied about what his name was. He said his name is Black. Hello, my name is Black. Now today, SpongeBob's coming for me. He told me that at the very beginning, but his name becomes Nick. So what's your actual name? Who are you? A classic revised? Yeah, what is this? This is the revised version? I'd hate to read the original. What the hell? Oh my god. Oh, that was so bad. Oh my god, that was so bad. I wish I had like comments or something to read for you guys, but I'm on fanfiction.net, so I don't have any. I can't. Although I don't imagine the comments for this would be very very good reviews. He has some other creepypastas as well, such as Super Paper Mario, The Haunted Guest, Bloody Slender, Fallout New Vegas, the Margaret Radio Curse. Okay, so SpongeBob SquarePants, sorry, Hope is Lost was like one of his first creepypastas, it looks like. I don't know if I read any worse creepypastas last year, because I don't really remember them all too well. I'd have to go back and check. But as for what I've read so far for Spooky Stories, Season 2 this year, I'd have to say this is the worst. It's just all over the place, just trying very hard to be creepy, and there's just like weird wording and like quoting screams. Like you don't quote screams. I don't know, like if they're going like, kill me please, like okay, I can respect that, but you don't do that when you're writing. You don't quote screams. Also, it's just kind of like typical like creepypasta, like lost episode fare. Like, I respect the fact that it wasn't like, oh, I just actually no, really, he really did pretty much just do what lost episode creepypastas do. Although there's like two ways to do it. There's either like someone who works for the place and they have like the tape where the supposedly lost episode is on, or they're watching TV and they're just a normal person and there's a little bumper at the bottom of the screen like, oh, new episode of SpongeBob coming up next. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not, I don't know. It's definitely not believable. Definitely not, but oh wait, I can read reviews for this. We can make a drinking game out of this. Oh man. says guest. We can make a drinking game out of this. Slowly, one shot. Oh god / dear god, one shot. Ellipse is one shot. This seems to me just like a Squidward Suicide reskin with a ton of repeated words and phrases, like for example, slowly. Synonyms: calmly, casually, deliberately, gently, gradually, haltingly, lazily, nonchalantly, languidly, leisurely, unhurriedly, etc. Please pick one. John Cena says, say my name. Some guy literally just says, this is bollocks. The worst lost episode creepypasta ever made. I don't know if I would agree with that. That is a very broad thing to say, but yeah. Like, yeah, it's very bad, but there's no way to tell it it's the worst one, but it's pretty bad. I'm not gonna deny that it's bad because it is. You use the word slowly 41 times. No, he didn't. He used slowly. He did. Oh my! I just Control F'd for the word slowly. Oh my God! You guys need to see this. You guys need to see this. I'm gonna show it on the screen right now. That is insane. He used the word slowly 41 times? Wow. That is insane. 41 times. That is insane. But yeah, that was Hope is Lost. I have not read that for a very, very long time, and oh my god, as much as I hate to admit it, this actually scared me. Because there was a bunch of talk of blood and, oh, it was his entrails. Oh, good god. Oh, jeez. Like, I mean, I hope you guys enjoyed this one. This one was pretty bad. This is about what I was expecting going into it, and I wanted to change up what creepypastas I've read so far, because I've read 2 gaming creepypastas so far, and I figured it was about time that I changed it up, and I did a lost episode type one, just like how I did last year, where I did like, oh, there's a gaming one, and then there's also like some like more obscure ones, like that Google Maps one that I did. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys are looking forward to the story for tomorrow. I promise, or at least I'm pretty sure it's not going to be as bad as this, because I don't think that's possible. That's mean. It will most likely be better. It will most likely be better tomorrow. But I hope you guys enjoyed this story anyway, and thank you all so much for watching. I will see you guys later. I slowly pushed the DVD